Welcome back to another episode of Truth Bombs and Bloopers with Christina and Priska. And today we'd love to talk about mental health. I personally brought that topic to the surface because it has been a very big one in my personal life, and also in my one that has affected my whole family in a very deep and profound way. And how this came to the surface, Christina, I'm also going to tell you that for the first time. I'm currently in a homeopathic treatment, and to actually really also work with my menstruational pain. We've talked about this earlier in one episode that I'm dealing with, and I'm done with all these ibuprofen, just painkiller stuff. I really would love to get to the core of it. So, and I'm working with this amazing therapist lady. But the funny thing is, or interesting thing is, since I started it, I kind of woke up many times in the last weeks with these feelings of depression.
Yeah.
And I haven't been feeling like this for a long time, really, really a long time. And there was a time in my life where this has been my daily bread, this feeling of feeling depleted, like everything's gray. Nothing makes sense. Nothing really brings you joy anymore. It's like, I don't even want to go up, everything just feels so heavy. I don't know, maybe you know that too, Christina?
I know it too. Yes.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because the treatments, you said it's a homeopathic treatment. It works holistically, and if you change one element in your system, all the other elements get triggered, and you start to heal on many layers. And so it's totally normal that you feel, because everything comes to the surface.
Yeah, it's true. And also with if you go back to an earlier episode, we've talked to Carrie Kennedy at one point, and she does these frequency healings, and we're also working with her at the moment. So this amplifies the whole
healing process
even more. And so I really felt, but still I really felt this, also the anxiety coming up, because I was like, I really don't want to feel like this anymore, and I also was worried because am I low in iron? Because also what I once had is I was very low in iron and vitamin B12. And I really also had exactly those feelings, but I think they're actually quite okay now. So I knew it has to be connected to this healing process of mine. But it just really threw me back, to these memories that I have had. And we're also at the moment, we're in this super moon in Scorpio, which is all about bringing up the shit. And also I've talked with Carrie about this, and she said so many people are dealing with mental health stuff at the moment, really, because all this stuff comes up. And also, of course, with the situation in the world, with COVID, with lockdowns, with restrictions, and there's just so much also in the
collective field. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And some
time to clean it out.
Some people react to it on a physical level, some people react to it on an emotional level, and some, what I also observe is a lot of people are constantly triggered by what is my purpose, why am I even here?
These big whys, what is this leading to? And I really think this is it's just a big thing in many people's lives at the moment. And depression has been taking such a toll on my family, because suicide is a thing in our family. My granddad took his own life, and his own dad took his own life, and he kind of found him, So, and then my mom had a depression, my cousins had depression. I had I would not say I had the depression, but I really was feeling depressed for a long time. I would not say I had a full-blown depression, but I was very close to it. And there were so many days, where I really did not know how and why I should go on. And if I would have, and I know not so many people talk about this, and it feels scary to say that also, but honestly, if I would have been hit by a car, I wouldn't have cared so much at that point in my life. And I think there's a fear within me still, to go back to this, because I think it's so bad, because you you don't know any treatment and people don't really understand, and you feel so fucking lonely because, you know, how can you explain this feeling, you know, when everything just feels
Yeah.
empty
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
gray?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially when you are in it, it's also hard to talk about it for a lot of people, because what comes up is also kind of shame that, or a lot of people blame themselves that they even feel this way because maybe on the outside everything is perfect, or like I should have the strength, or I should have changed something earlier. And it's really worth talking about because we don't really see what's going on inside someone's.
That's so true.
Yeah, I know the feeling exactly.
Mm.
I There's also depression running in my own family.
Mm.
And I remember years where I woke up with this feeling every morning, with this total emptiness, and there were moments of suicidal thoughts. Not that far that I would really do it, but
That
as you
plan,
said,
yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like, yes, if I'm hit now, it's okay. But
Yeah.
it's a long time ago, and I think we, as humans, we tend to run away from these really heavy, uncomfortable feelings.
Yeah.
But I have been musing about lately is that actually the pain and the suffering is the bridge to grace. And if we can allow to look at these pains or physical, sometimes it's hard to see, is it a physical pain, is it an emotional pain, because the emotion eventually becomes physical somewhere. And to just sit with it and accept it just at the same way as if you are happy and fulfilled, because you only through going and persevere through that wound, you really start to become aware of it, and then you can try to let it go. But it's so hard in that moment, and you don't know when it will end.
That's it. I think that's a big
Yeah.
part of, you know, you think how like this is never going to end. This is like this agony that you're in. And it's so important what you just shared. I had this morning a conversation with Carrie Kennedy that we've talked to. And, you know, I shared her about like symptoms that I'm having
Yes.
again.
Yes.
And then she was like, you know, for you, it's so important to, you know, not trying to find out why you have that or what it is or worry about it. Just be with the pain and
Yes.
really also like, you know, also kind of cultivate this relationship with pain and look into in the ancestral, you know, relationship that people had with pain. And instead of trying to make it go away or make it go into the drama or into the fear, but just being with it. And I think this is really hard for me because I constantly want to find a solution or explain it, or, you know. And I also realized for myself, when it comes especially to physical pain, there's also this fear within me that I could miss the right moment to go to a doctor and then fuck up. And you know, there's this fear of taking over the responsibility and like for my own body and wellness. It's easier for me to kind of outsource this responsibility to an expert, to, you know, like, I don't know, some heal. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I also know that I actually really need to learn to just become my own expert and really trust my body and learn
Exactly.
to really learn to
Yes.
communicate
Yes.
with her in a better way.
Yeah, to become a team, because as long as you don't listen to her, the bell will ring, and maybe that's the reason why it's there, to establish this relationship. And because even the best expert cannot really tell you what's going on inside until you make your own, or your own body wisdom speaks to you.
That's so true, because I also honestly believe mental health is so multi-layered. You know, I really believe it can be physically, you know, through the wrong food or the wrong just food that doesn't serve you, that it can be some kind of what medical medium says, this Anthony William guy who says,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a little inflammation also of the brain that can
Yeah.
cause certain things, and we don't know about this yet. So it can be in a physical reason, or like me, I was short on vitamin B12 and iron, and really when I got this supplemented, I just felt good again. I could feel it, and I was going through a breakup at that time, but I was so grateful because at least I could feel the pain. I could at least feel sad about it, and not just numb. And I think it can be that we don't listen to our soul, that we're kind of off our path, or it can be what I'm going through right now, that it's really just some kind of an echo from something old that is healing or leaving. And I can have so many different reasons why we are having feelings of depression or anxiety or whatever it is. And I think we can only find out the true reason when we do sit with it for a while and do feel into it and ask ourselves and our soul, what can it be? And of course, we can also run a blood test. That helps certainly too. To see if it's a physical.
But maybe even that answer will come once you connect deeply. When I always recommend to my clients that they do 2 exercises. First of all, write a letter to your body, let's say, or if your knee hurts, like communicate with your knee. Just do some automatic writing and ask your knee what it wants to tell you, because there's a need. It wants to say something to you.
That's true.
And then the other and then also to really look like step by step each day. Maybe one day it shows up physically, but the next day it's maybe emotional, and kind of step. For me to step on the yoga mat is for me such a sacred moment to kind of, okay, let's see what's here now. And
to really be present with yourself and
to
your
be
body.
present with my body. And normally I can always transform the energy within my system within even after 10 minutes. The energy is totally transformed, because sometimes it just needs to move somewhere, because I'm often very stuck up here or here, like these are my 2 kind of pressure points where I'm like, okay, and then it's like, okay, it's gone. It was just some energetic knot, and but through moving, I already receive answers to what it could be, or what I need to do, or maybe just don't do anything because it already resolved. So movement is really one solution for me. Not everybody has.
I love that. Yeah, but I think you're the queen of that. I think there's nobody as like you who does that so, like
so
you are for me, like you're so inspiring.
It's
so disciplined also.
Yeah, it's my way of survival. I think it's just my medicine. Otherwise I would go mad if I would only sit up here.
Undefined head syndrome.
Yes.
No, I can feel you. I don't need it. Like I do need also like movement, and I mean like movement is always like when you move outside, it's also inside. Moving is something has to move, right? As out, so within, as within, so without. But I don't have it so extremely, that I can feel the things shift immediately. It takes more time for me. Like, for example, I can feel like the dogs when they are shaking when something too exciting or annoying has happened or scary. I also realize that I have to jump up and down. It really helps my physiology to really get rid of energy and to shake it off in a way. These things really, really help, and I can feel that immediately. But like that, this stuckness, I still have to find a way to move through that. Sometimes it's really for me just going for a walk, or maybe it's also movement day. Actually,
definitely. I mean, do the experiment. I mean, when you just dance your shit off and shake everything off, isn't it that something inside you transforms? Maybe you need longer. Maybe it's not within 5 minutes. Maybe you need half an hour of just whatever. But I mean,
I think it's, sorry, excuse me.
Just go ahead.
No, I just want to say sometimes it's also, as I'm a cellular person, you know, with my line 6 in the
Yep.
purpose sphere
Yep.
and the gene keys, I also know that, for example, when I do this frequency with the work that I'm doing with Carrie, like just having these frequencies and just going out of my everyday life, just breaking the pattern. Like just laying down, listen to music, watching a YouTube video of somebody that inspires me. This can also with me shift so much, or just like music in general is just so powerful for me to just listen to a song and really feeling it. This is such a mood changer.
Yes.
But that's the thing, when I don't know how this is with you, but when I'm really in this depressed state, nothing helps. I can do whatever, like for me, like of course it does help, like little changes, I can do it, but I don't feel the fulfillment like I normally do, or I don't feel the, you know, the joy feels then fake or just very thin spread. I don't know how this is with you, but that's the thing for me, and I think this is why it's so scary.
Yeah.
Because I feel like anything I do, it just feels meh.
I think it can also be that you just react very intensely in both spheres. So when you are happy, it's like extremely happy and joyful, and when you're down, it's extremely, and maybe it takes 3 days. But there might be some impatience, maybe that it needs to go over in 5 minutes, but maybe it takes 3 days.
I think it's this, and also the fear that it's staying. I have that constantly when I have sometimes I have vertigo, you know, that this I think this is the worst. I think this is one of the worst things that I have.
You mean at night?
Yeah, at night, that all of a sudden everything is just, and you cannot focus because your eyes are constantly doing this. It's terrible, I think. And then I get nauseous. And I also had it sometimes through the day, and it wouldn't go away for a whole day. And I know that my mom has that, and she really then can have it for several days. And I think it's so bad, and I'm so afraid to, you know, become like my mom and to have that like my mom. So when I get it, also when it's just for maybe a minute or something, but this fear that is actually maybe even worse than the vertigo is this, what if it's going to stay, if it's never going away anymore, you know? So like this is one of the big fears I have also when I felt this depressed, like I did a few days ago. And I still have, I still can feel it also now, you know, that sometimes there's this little anxiety in my belly, to like, what if it comes back? You know, it's like kind of this Damocles sword soaring somehow above me, this feeling, oh what? And I know that I just have to, you know, accept that it's there right now, and don't have to
I think it helps a lot if we don't fight it. I had this morning, I woke up with this like really strong pressure here. I always have it in my heart area, chest, lung area. And it often happens when, you know, I'm an expert like in getting a lot of things into one day, or like, and then I wake up and I feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed with what's coming, or it's a fear of that I will not be prepared till that day. And normally I would want to get away with it, or like do something and ask myself, why is it here? And today, this morning, I just felt it so strongly, and I tried to embrace it fully, like just to, hey, what's the difference between this and love? And I tried to give it the same importance and the same attention, and just and suddenly I realized it's okay. It kind of vanished by just giving it the same, I don't know how to say it.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like embracing every child that you have, like treating all the feelings like your children, and like there's not one is better than the other. It's just giving in the attention, and in the attention, in the embrace, the child kind of like relaxes.
Not
Yeah.
like, so, oh, why are you here again and now, and
Yes.
then more and more fear comes up and more, and it gets
Yeah.
like a tower. And okay, you're here, and really, I this sentence stuck with me, like, okay, you're just a bridge to grace.
Wow.
You're just as graceful as love, and then eventually it will
That's beautiful.
resolve, and it will turn into love. I don't know. That's what I can recommend for today's truth bomb that I experienced for myself. Yeah, but the suffering is deep, deep, deep at the moment.
Oh, it is. It is. And suffering, you know, like Carrie, when she was scanning me, she also found out that I had this belief it's safe to suffer. Like
Yep.
suffering is safe for me. And of
Yep.
course, it's a belief that keeps me in the suffer loop in a way. So it's also about really looking at the relationship that we have with suffering. And of course, some stuff can be very unconscious. But I think even if it's unconscious, when we have the willingness to stick with it and to just
Yes.
observe it and not
Yes.
judge it for anything, I think everything in the end can transform.
Yes.
Or at
Yes.
least that is what I want to believe, because honestly, it worked for me now. But of course, I don't know. Like if you're too deep in a depression, I don't know if it would have worked for my granddad. I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing, you know, as when it's really a medical or like a physical imbalance
Thing. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
or a
But again, like also there, I mean, I was, yeah, chemical. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Like we don't know what it was. I just know that after, I don't even know, like when I was in my angel education, as like maybe some know, I also do angel messages, and I had this moment after my first Reiki initiation, and I all of a sudden saw angels, and then I was kind of receiving messages day out, day in. And then I was educating myself. And in this education, one of the participants, she came to me and said, hey, I have a message from your granddad. And she explained everything, like so many details. I was like, oh, blown away. And she said, yeah, he really needed to go because he had other stuff to do in other dimensions. And he's really well. He's really okay. And he had also a message from my mom, and it was so beautiful. And this is also the moment that I could fully forgive him, because there was a part that was really judging him for leaving us. I was still very young. I was 14 when he took his life, and he made several attempts. So we knew that this was a thing, and we were constantly afraid about him. But so it was so hard to lose a person like that, and especially because I felt like that it was kind of his fault. I was really blaming him for a while, that he would leave me. Because we had a very special bond. I really loved him very much, and maybe also this unconscious belief I was not good enough. Otherwise, he would not have left me. He would not have killed himself if he would have loved me really deeply, something like that. So that this was really the moment when I realized, hey, we don't know anything. We think we know because it makes so much sense in our 3D world, but in the end, we just don't know. What a soul's path is.
No, exactly. But there seems to be that there is still that fear that that could happen to you too once it pops up, that it will stay with you forever, and you will kind of become one of those family members. And
yes, it's there. It's surely there, because I heard him saying so many times, if you know who I truly am, you wouldn't love me. So I know that this was his pattern. He was really hiding parts of himself and trying to be this perfect man. He was handsome, he was loving kids, he was like sportsy, he was like taking care of his body, he was like this Mr. Perfect. And I think he really could not really be vulnerable with people. I think this was probably the issue at the end. But I don't know, like I just know he suffered for a very long time. And I think, like, especially in like now we know, because he also found his diaries, and he tried so many things to get better. He went into monasteries, to meditate, and did that and this, and so many things he tried out, medication, and nothing worked. I think that there is certainly a fear somewhere. Oh my God, what if you if you become him, because I also looked up to him in such a, like, he was like, wow, this amazing person, you know, in my life, always in a good mood, always loving. Of course, yeah, this was of course obviously not every time real. So yeah.
Yeah, that's often, I mean, that always comes out when like psychics speak with the souls who decided to go, especially if they're young and the parents are still alive. That's so hard for the parents, because they keep having these, I mean, it's terrible. You think you just lost
a part of yourself.
Yeah. And what every young soul who's leaving says is it had nothing to do with the parents or the situation. It was just their plan.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was a plan to just be here for that short time, and the mission was accomplished. It has nothing to do with the parents.
That's I think everybody should, I wish every parent who loses a child could have a message like that, because I think it's so hard when you lose a child, you know, especially now also during COVID. I mean, the rates went up so badly.
Yes.
And it's so, it's just heartbreaking. And I think you ask yourself, was I not present enough? Was I not, you know, was I not asking enough questions? And you beat yourself up. And I really think in the end, there's nothing you can do.
No, there's individual journeys, and I mean that comes down to actually to the everyday life of a parent. You are there to hold their hands and to be a guide, but it's still their journey. And if that journey is meant to be over, or the mission is accomplished, then
there's nothing you can do.
Nothing.
I think this is hard. This is so fucking hard, because it's like with children that you think you have to protect, and you have to see.
I mean,
like, yeah, I know you can feel that as a mom. You know how it would be for you. Yeah, so like I really think mental health and talking about it, because, you know, when I was feeling so low, I was talking with a friend. And the funny or interesting thing is she went through exactly the same thing. This is also why we knew kind of what is happening. And just talking about it, you know, and both like, hey, you're not alone in this. I'm in there too, just as you know, and this is just now. You know, we're going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. Let's just trust this process and be present with it. And this alone was just so healing. Yeah, like just sharing.
Yeah. And also, you know, it's almost like these moments of depression are almost like pauses where we are allowed again to go one level deeper, like to peel the onion one layer after the other, or to evolve in whatever direction you want to look at it. But if you wouldn't have this pain, you wouldn't look there. It's really an invitation.
That's so true.
It's really an invitation. And
that is so true. I think it's always an invitation to look, where are we not aligned with our soul, where is something off.
Or also where,
or sometimes, like in my case, I really believe at the moment,
sorry, just we're a bit off. Just finish your phrase.
I'm so sorry. No, I stopped because I realized that probably not. That's me sitting in my warm bedroom instead of my office, because it's just cozier, but it's also shittier connection. So excuse me for any inconvenience.
Yeah, sharing is definitely important, and to talk about it and get it out of the system, and not be afraid, or like if it's very, very bad, to get help from a therapist or a coach, and look at it, because you don't need to bear it all, you know, if it's ongoing and you cannot get out. But from for days when it happens, it can really help to shift, because we have this tendency, we want to run away, we want to hide from those pains, but that's why we're here,
I sure do.
to heal the collective
So
pain.
annoying.
Yeah.
Can this not be just a bit smoother?
It will be smooth again. It will be smooth again.
Yeah, that's the good thing. That's the good thing with nothing stays like the same.
Yes.
I mean, like, that's the cool thing about change, right? Everything, also the shitty stuff changes.
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
And again, if you can really reframe the shitty stuff as gifts in a ugly wrapping, and do exactly what you just shared about, you know, finding the new depth and readjusting your journey, and maybe it's about learning to ask for help, you know, because you don't have, as what you said, you don't have to wait too long. You just can go out and look for help and support. And because it can be different reasons. I think it's good to get in action, to observe, and to take your blood work done. Or to change your diet, or greens to get more iron in, and to take vitamin B12 as a supplement, or, you know, of course there's things we can do to support ourselves, or to really realign what our soul really wants to do, like looking at our jobs again. Is really what we want to do, or is there something we need to change but we're afraid of to do, you know? So I think it's really such an individual journey, and I think maybe in the end, depression and anxiety are really just helpers to support us in finding our back on our true soul's path, in a way.
Absolutely. You know, I always see this image of this round bridge, and you know, here's the pain on this side, and then maybe you do one step and you're still not there. It's this, you need to keep going, persevere, and then one day you will be at the other side, and there it will be bliss again. But just trust
these steps, that they lead to somewhere, right?
Yeah, they lead to somewhere.
Yeah. So I think this is just such an important conversation to keep open, and we have planned, actually, a live Q&A, my loves, next in our next Truth Bombs and Bloopers, and it will be, I think, at 4:30 CEST, right?
Yes.
Did I say that properly?
Yes,
4:30 CEST, like time zones like Amsterdam, Bern, Zurich, Switzerland in general,
Brussels,
Berlin,
exactly.
Brussels,
And
exactly.
and the date will be May 11th.
So you can bring, like, or even better, you can already send the questions to us right now, but you can also be there live to even ask more questions, or to deepen the question if you like to. And maybe you also like have some questions around mental health, or some stories that you would like to share, or some insights that you've got on your own mental health journey. Because it's a thing, my loves, it's really a thing, and we need to talk about these things, because even though, I mean, like, I don't think that anybody would have expected to have Christina or me having mental health stuff in our systems, but yeah, because we're coaches and we work with these things. But yes, it happens to, like, everyone, or it can happen to everyone.
Of course, everyone.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, and the questions, actually, it's a general Q&A. You can ask us anything, you know, any subject, relationship expert, Priska, or if it's something that you feel like you want to ask me, like
yoga,
any questions that we can address next time when we are live.
This is going to be so exciting. I love that.
And you can, best is if you just send the questions right here, down there in the comments, and we will collect them over the next 2 weeks.
Exactly. And if you want to do them anonymous, because you don't like to have your name there, you can also send us either on Instagram, you can send us a message, PM, or also on Facebook, you can PM us. Like, your name will not be named, and it will be. So I think that's it, eh?
Yes, let's see you in our next episode, which will be a Q&A on our Facebook or Instagram.
Instagram, I guess.
Instagram, yes.
Yeah. Let's do it on
our Instagram. and we will then save it.
And you can rewatch it, of course, if you cannot be live there, because I know for American, Canadian people, it can be a bit challenging. Or also actually for Australian people, they're sleeping at that time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you just watch it when you can. But again, if you have questions, send them to us, and we are so looking forward to answering all your questions. And Christina, we're a wrap.
We're a wrap. Have a beautiful day. See you. Bye.
With someone, and frozen, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were frozen for a moment. That's why I was listening.
I was frozen like this.
Probably.
I always freeze like this.
Ich probiere es einfach. Weißt du,
wenn du sagst, es geht gar nicht, dann sage ich Bloopers und dann kann ich runter.
Okay, gut.
Ja, okay, das ist sehr gut. Dann machen wir das einfach mal so und schauen mal,
wo wir rankommen.
Jetzt muss ich auch introduktionieren.
Ich habe es schon so lange nicht gemacht. Wir wissen gar nicht,
wie heißt dieser Podcast? I forgot the name. It's something with truth bombs. Okay.